The following program may contain adult language and mature subject matter and does not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Reality Radio 101, its advertisers and sponsors, or its listening audience. Listener discretion is strongly advised. Welcome to Canadian Cigar Scene with your hosts Julian Luke and Kevin Newell, right here on Reality Radio 101. To contact us live by telephone, dial 905-725-1907. Toll free in North America, 1-866-905-7325. Worldwide, 1-866-656-5477. Send us an email right now, realityradio101@yahoo.com. And now, your hosts of Canadian Cigar Scene, Kevin Newell and Jillian Luke.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Canadian Cigar Scene. How you doing, Jew? I got my compadre back here.
I'm doing fantastic now that the snow's melted.
Yeah, it blows, eh?
It does.
Yeah, we had a little dust and the snow up here in the Great White North last night, and you never get used to it, do you? I mean,
No.
especially that first snow, but you know what? It is what it is.
But it's gonna get warmer this week. 13 maybe by Friday.
Beauty. Get the golf clubs back out. I guess we're going to have to apologize to our listeners for last week's total pooch up.
It's all Bobby Newman's fault.
Bobby Newman and Delta. Was it Delta or United or who the
Delta.
frick we were flying with?
It was Delta.
Delta, yeah, a bunch of jackwagons. We got it. We were down in Tampa last week. Went on a little cigar junket down to J.C. Newman's factory, Bobby Newman and Eric Newman's factory, and they were very gracious hosts. Took us. What did we do? We did deep sea fishing. We went to the sat in the Diamond Crown Cigar Lounge in Tampa Bay and watched the Lightning and Florida play. It was crazy watching a hockey game and smoking a cigar at the same time.
Yeah, it was something wonderful to behold.
Yeah, really cool. And then we did the Tampa Bay Bucks game on the Sunday. Watched them beat Dallas, beat the Cowboys. That was a riot in Bobby's private box, which was quite a treat. Yeah, we were spoiled to balls, hey?
Just a bit spoiled.
Yeah.
Just a bit.
It's all good, though. Yeah, so unfortunately we missed a connection and couldn't get back in time for the show. So sorry about that, folks. And I know we picked up a ton of new listeners the week before. Picked up a bunch of new countries as well. There's probably too many to even list. I mean, I can't believe how many people we picked up in the last week and a half. So thank you very much for your support. On to bigger and brighter things here, Jew. What are we doing this for?
All about the education of the cigar consumer. We want to let people know about the wonderful people and products that are happening in the Canadian cigar scene.
You got that right. Here's to that. We got what we're doing this week is we're going to play back a interview. We were down in Toronto a couple of weeks ago. We had the opportunity. We found out that Roberto Duran was in town. And so, of course, we scooted down to Toronto to do a quick interview with him. So we recorded a pretty cool interview that I think that we're going to run tonight and let the folks delve into a little bit more about Roberto Duran and Azan Cigars. So it's going to be a really good show. Anything else we got to add before we take off into the interview?
I think we should get going because otherwise we might run overtime, and we don't want to do that to the next host.
Does that cost us?
It might.
Uh-oh. Gary, we ready?
We are ready.
What a voice, eh? All right, folks, here you go. This is Roberto Duran.
Part 1.
Welcome to the show, Roberto. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing very well. Thank you.
Good. You've been doing a lot of travel, so I hear?
Yeah, quite a bit.
Well, Roberto, maybe we should start with how did you start Duran Cigars?
Well, I have been in cigar all my life. I've been working for. I started to work for Cuba Tobacco in Cuba, Habanos. Then I went on to work for Pacific Cigar Company in Hong Kong for a number of years. Then came to Canada
Okay.
to run Havana House, a Cuban cigar distributor in Canada. And then went on to work for BAT in London. So working for a number of brands. And then some friend of mine from Cuba has started growing wrappers in Ecuador. And they sort of, asked me to come and see what they were doing down there and the great quality wrapper they were producing. And I went to Ecuador to see what they were doing, and I was amazed of the quality of the wrapper they were able to produce in Ecuador, which is fantastic, country with an amazing soil and climate for wrappers to grow wrappers. And I fell in love with the idea, and so I decided to capitalize on that, put investment into that, and to went and do my own brand. So actually, it all started with the wrapper business.
That right, eh?
Yes.
Interesting. So, I mean, now that I mean, even in our shop, it's just inundated with the amount of Ecuadorian wrapper and cigars now, isn't it?
Yes.
Were you sort of on the ground floor with that, as far as one of the first people used an Ecuadorian wrapper leaf?
No, we were not. We don't know one of the first ones, but we just started 5 years ago.
Okay.
But in that period of time, we have been able to produce excellent quality Cuban seed Havana wrappers in Ecuador, which, in my opinion, is a very, very close quality to the best Cuban quality wrapper.
Okay.
And I definitely love to work with a Ecuadorian wrapper. All my cigar brands has the Ecuadorian Habano wrapper that we produce.
Very neat. Very neat. So your heritage is Cuban. You were born in Cuba.
Yes.
Now you still have family in Cuba?
Yes, I have family in Cuba.
Okay. How often do you get to go back and visit?
Well, not as often as I would like to, but normally once or twice a year.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, maybe you should tell the listeners just a quick rendition of being the face of a cigar brand. What's your travel schedule like in this coming 2 weeks?
Well, in the coming 2 weeks. Well, tomorrow I'm traveling back to Miami. Just for half a day, and on Wednesday I will be in Cincinnati, and I will do a few cities in the Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky area. That will take me to Saturday morning. I'm back in Miami on Saturday noontime, and Monday 6 a.m. I'm on my way to New York to meet with cigar aficionados. So
wow, it's just a whirlwind for you. And I mean, this is I mean, the last week you were in Miami for half day. Your family lives in British Columbia.
Yeah, my kids live in British Columbia and Vancouver, and of course I have to come and see them as at least once or twice a month.
Yeah, wow.
And in BC. Yeah.
Crazy schedule. So, Azan, the name Azan itself. Where did you come up with the name Azan for your cigar?
Azan is a brand that was founded in Cuba in 1928. And it was founded by a Chinese immigrant in Cuba. And as far as we know, is the only Chinese immigrant that has that was involved in the cigar business in Cuba and had a major cigar factory in Cuba. It happened to be the grandfather of my wife.
Wow!
So that's how naturally when we were producing the wrappers and we decided to do a small factory in Esteli and start doing our own cigars. Of course, the first brand that we produced was Azan, because it was for us. It was of course very natural to do that. To keep the heritage of that brand that has been in her family for so long. Of course, Azan is very interesting because not only was the only Chinese family that we know, Chinese immigrant in Cuba that was involved in the cigar business. They actually, that Chinese family, her grandfather in 1938 won the national lottery in Cuba.
Really?
And he actually came to Canada. He at that, I believe it was something around $200,000. It was a lot of money.
Wow.
200,000 pesos. It was equivalent to dollar at that time in 1938.
Must have been
He
huge.
actually came to Toronto.
Okay.
And he negotiated here with an American company or a Canadian company, which we cannot say exactly, but they bought the full machinery for cigarette technology.
Okay.
And I think there was a factory that was here, and they bought the machinery from here and they brought it back to Cuba, and the factory became very prosperous. They were then producing cigars and cigarettes under the Azan brand until 1959, and of course in 1959, the Cuban government, took over the facility, the factory with everything. But that factory is still there in Nicaragua, in Las Villas, in Cuba, in the center of Cuba. And that factory is a cigar factory still. It produces Montecristo, Romeo Julieta, all the Cuban cigar brands.
Really?
And the machinery for cigarettes were taken from there and to a factory, cigarette factory in Cuba, which is a Ranchuelo factory in Las Villas, which everybody who has been in the industry knows that. The Ranchuelo factory is one of the two remaining cigarette factories in Cuba, and those machines are still there producing cigarettes. So that's the story of Azan, and that's why when we started producing, when we decided to produce our first brand, we decided to resurrect the Azan brand.
Wow.
And that's so far where we are.
Quite the heritage.
And I've got a question about that. So, we talked a little bit earlier today about the embargo and about the possibility that the embargo, will be lifted. Do you, is there talk among people that had the assets nationalized that there will be, some kind of payment back to your factory for the fact the factory was just taken away like that?
Well, we don't know exactly how it's going to happen or what is going to happen, but I think that everybody is asking the same question. Sure.
Compensation, right?
And everybody's asking the same question, either compensation or any other ways. But I'm sure that my wife's family, as well as many other Cuban families, will be very interested in knowing how that is going to evolve.
Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, you've done a lot. You did. Now, were you actually in the cigar business? How did you even start with the cigar business? I mean, like being a Cuban. I mean, did you?
Well, I was in Cuba and I was studying in university. I was studying political science and economy.
Okay.
And I actually wanted to work for the bank.
Okay.
So I was sort of getting, I was trained to work for the bank. But then I have a very good friend of mine, somebody very senior and very well seasoned in Cuba in business, and he advised me not to work for the bank in Cuba. He said to me, the Cuban National Bank is working for the bank is probably the most boring job you will do. The Cuban National Bank is not exactly, it's not like what you see in the movies with the stockbrokers or anything like that. You're not going to be driving a Porsche or
Not in Cuba. That's right. Not in Cuba.
So it's not going to be exactly like the movies. So, right. And he said to me, look, the only Cuban company that is really markets its product globally, and it's a window, and it's everywhere in the world, is the cigar company, and it's the only Cuban product that really reaches every corner of the world.
Global.
As a century ago used to be the sugar. Now in the 20th century and part of the 19th century as well, and 21st century definitely are the cigars, the Cuban cigar who are everywhere. So if you want to go and see something different and do some real marketing, he actually suggested me to work for the cigar company, and I followed that advice.
Wow. Now, were you a cigar smoker at the time?
Not at all.
No? What was your? Do you remember the first cigar you ever smoked?
Well, yeah, I smoked a cigar before that, and my father gave it to me, and it was a Cuban Davidoff #1, El Lancero.
Oh wow! Oh,
Those were the ones that my
Lanceros.
father used to smoke. They were really good ones.
Yeah.
classic. Yeah, I mean now. I mean, there must have been such a difference between the Davidoffs of the Cuban era as opposed to the Davidoffs of the Dominican era. You think?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Well, we got a few more questions to ask you, Roberto. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to Canadian Cigar Scene on www.realityrun01.com. RealityRadio101.com.
Chris Lee West Indian Market has been serving the West Indian community for over 15 years. Visit their new location at 20 Harwood Avenue South, Unit 7 at Harwood and Kingston Road in Ajax. They have a wide variety of Oriental, East, and West Indian groceries, fresh fish, meat, and vegetables. Load up your cart with goodies from the island at very reasonable prices. They have weekly specials such as non-alcoholic wine at 2 bottles for $5. Visit Chris Lee West Indian Groceries at 20 Harwood Avenue South, Unit 7 at Harwood Avenue and Kingston Road in Ajax, or call them right now, 905-426-2111. That's 905-426-2111. When you visit Peacock Lumber, you will step back in time to a place where purchasing wood products was simple, efficient, and pleasant. In our office, you can view our large selection of moldings and receive advice from knowledgeable sales staff. Once you have decided on your order, you can pick up your materials in our drive-through yard or utilize our delivery service. For pickups, take your vehicle out to our traditional lumber yard, where someone is always there to assist you. If you are accustomed to purchasing wood products at a box store, you will be impressed by the variety, selection, and quality of products that we offer, and the ease in which you get your vehicle loaded and get you on your way. Peacock Lumber is conveniently located on 8 acres in central Oshawa. It was started in 1939 by Victor Peacock and remains family-owned and operated. If you need quality wood products for your renovation, please call us at 905-725-4744. That's 905-725-4744. Or, for a full list of products and prices, go to www.peacocklumber.ca. Come to Peacock Lumber first to get the price, selection, quality, and service that you expect. The following program may contain adult language and mature subject matter and does not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Reality Radio 101, its advertisers and sponsors, or its listening audience. Listener discretion is strongly advised. Welcome back to Canadian Cigar Scene with your hosts, Julian Luke and Kevin Newell, right here on Reality Radio 101. Send us an email right now, realityradio101 at yahoo.com. And now, right back to your hosts, Kevin Newell and Julian Luke.
Welcome back, everybody. I hope you're enjoying that interview with Roberto Duran as much as we did doing the interview. He's just a great gentleman, eh?
He is a true gentleman.
Yeah.
One of the nicest in the business.
Absolutely. And really knows his stuff. I love his history from Cuba as well. We got to quickly do a couple of things here, Jew. First off is Victory Cigars events, correct?
Absolutely. Get a pencil to jot these down, folks.
Nice. This Saturday at Victory Cigars, we have our annual Florida Los Antilles event. Saturday, November 28th from 11 o'clock till 4 o'clock. We are going to be just killing it with the Florida Los Antilles, which was #1 cigar in 2012, Cigar Aficionado.
It's a wonderful Toro.
It is. So don't miss this event. It's going to be fantastic. Swag, lots of good stuff going on. Also, we're lucky enough to have one of our customers, Big John Dufek. He used to be in the band Wednesday. He was generous enough to give us one of his Fender bass guitars that he toured with on the road, and he's given us instructions to. We were thinking, how can we make money? He wants to make money to use it for a children's charity in Oshawa. So what we're doing is we're raffling it off. We have a ticket price of $10 per ticket. Get you a ticket in the draw, and we will be drawing for that prize the Friday of the second week of December. So all the money goes to Children's Shelter in Oshawa, which is for us is a fantastic idea. And again, thanks very much, John. It's very generous of you.
It's going to make a nice Christmas present for somebody.
Absolutely, for sure. Cigar scene happenings. Over to you.
Yes, and lots of new cigars are coming into Canada right now. The new Alec Bradley Fine and Rare 2015 is on our shores. I've seen a couple of stores announcing that today they received the Camacho Barrel Aged in stock.
We got it.
Amazing. We got that one too. Amazing cigar. Within the Davidoff White Label series, the Winston Churchill is now available in Canada at Davidoff Appointed Merchants, as well as the Davidoff Escurio. And just yesterday, I saw that the fine folks from Hoyta, Nicaragua have the Cuatro Cinco Reserva Especial. The orders are now being taken among stores, and so we should see that coming into shops in Canada very soon. And for pipe lovers, Brigham is doing their 2015 Pipe of the Year. It's part of a 4-set series. The first one is going to be called Fire. And lastly, when we were down in Tampa, we met a wonderful lady, Doris Anderson, from Jade Smoker's Corner at 1230 Broad Street in the Value Mall. That's in Regina, Saskatchewan. So if you're out in Regina, make sure you go and see Doris at Jade Smoker's Corner. There is no website, but they have email at jadesmokers@sasktel.net. Back over to you, Kevin.
All right, I think we better pop right back into that interview, don't you, Gary? Or else we're going to run out of...
Yes, we're all set. No problems.
We are going to run out of time otherwise, and... the CRTC is going to come down on us like friggin' to hell with them, right? Screw them. All right, Gary, runner, baby. Welcome back, everybody. We're sitting here with Roberto Duran. Roberto, welcome back.
Thank you.
Quickly, I mean, you're a global company. You deal with companies all over the world. What's the difference you find with the Canadian market, and how it's changed over the course of the last maybe 10 years?
Well, the Canadian market is a market that I got to know very well since I work here in Canada at a time when Cuba Cigar was probably 75% market share.
So that was in the early 2000s, right?
Early 2000s,
Yep.
75% market share.
Yep.
And today, 10 years later, or 15 years later, we have seen the Cuban market share go down to perhaps 30%.
Yeah.
And well, there's a few. Obviously, the price is a factor, but also is the fact that there are more quality non-Cuban cigars, and the quality has been improving a lot as well. I mean, for us in our factory in Nicaragua, me and all my team of senior people who are part of my team. Of course, we are all from Cuba. We were all Cuban cigar smokers before we started smoking Nicaraguan and Dominican cigars. And so one of the things that we do, for example, our brand Azan is a brand that is very Cuban in a way. Is the philosophy, the whole construction of the brand is very close to a Cuban cigar. If you like, I mean. Starting by the wrapper, which is a Habano Corojo wrapper grown in Ecuador. The wrapper grown in Ecuador is flat, is oily, is very similar to the Cuban, is sweet. And then we also have our flavor profile is sort of medium plus. We also believe, and we do make all our cigars in the evolution and progressive flavor philosophy, and this is that we make sure that we make a cigar in a way that when you light the cigar start nice and mild, and then the flavor, the intensity start building up as you smoke, and not the way around.
Yeah, that goes completely against a lot of philosophies of other companies where it seems like it's built to an American market where they have that bang of pepper to start. And I mean, if you don't have anything that you notice you're smoking a cigar and you're getting blown away, then 5 minutes in, you're going to put the cigar down and you're going to say, I want to try something else because that did nothing for me.
Exactly. That we have been very strong teaching our rollers to avoid that. Because I knew, coming from Canada and coming from the Cuban cigar war into Nicaragua, I knew from day one that that was one of the things that I had to avoid. I had to avoid that people put down my cigar in the first puff. And so I had to make sure that when somebody light the cigar, especially a Cuban cigar smoker in Canada, he will find the cigar light nice and mild. And he will find sweetness, he will find a flavor that he's used to, sort of a medium nice flavors. And then he's going to start building up a he smoke. I want to make sure that he's in his last third of the cigar, right at the end, that he is very satisfied and he's saying, well, it's amazing the flavor that I'm getting now, almost reaching full body. So that is what I call the evolution and progressive flavor. It's nothing new. It's a very old philosophy in the making of Cuban cigar. But of course, the U.S. market has its own particular profiles, which in some areas people do like the cigar that start with a pepper punch in your face. But as you understand, when you bring that cigar to a sort of Cuban dominated market, you're going to have a problem.
So would you say that you sort of structured that cigar for the Canadian market in a way, just for that reason?
Not the Canadian market, all the Cuban sort of market. So I'm talking about Europe, I'm talking about Asia, and I'm talking about Canada, of course.
So would you call, you know, the Asian and the Canadian markets a little more unique than the American market itself? A little more, would you say maybe a little more sophisticated, or?
Well, I wouldn't call it a bit more sophisticated, but I would call it that definitely the Canadian market has been dominated for a long time with the Cuban flavor profile and the Cuban philosophy of construction in cigars. So that's very different from the American market, which the Cuban cigar hasn't been there, at least in great numbers, in 50 or 60 years.
So I think that we can kind of, with the help of, a lot of new publications that have been going on for the last 10 or 15 years as far as cigar publications and reviews and such, that you see, more Nicaraguan, Honduran, Dominican cigars, in the top 10s and, winning cigar of the year and stuff like that are non-Cuban cigars. It's been a real sort of shift over the years, hasn't it?
Yes. And it's true that the quality has improved tremendously.
Yeah,
I see that every day, and I know what we do in my factory, and I know what is done in other factories in Nicaragua, which I visit regularly, and I see the tobacco that's been grown in Nicaragua and Honduras, Ecuador, and the quality is unbelievable. It has improved tremendously. And today, I mean, we make cigars that I take to Cuba. When I go to Cuba, I take my cigars and I give it to some of my ex-colleagues there, people that have been in the industry for 40 years, 50 years, and I give him one cigar, and the guy will not believe that it's not a Cuban cigar.
Right. That's awesome. Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah. You can't get much higher praise than that.
That's right.
Can you?
Yeah.
That's right. So now you've teamed up with Brigham Canada as your for Azan Cigars, your Roberto Duran cigars. What do we have in the Canadian market? What brands do we have going?
Well, we have Azan here mainly. Azan is it was our first brand, as I mentioned before. It's a brand that has 3 lines. You have the Burgundy line, which is a more casual cigar, but is a mild to medium, is sweet. It has an excellent price point. It's all below 10 Canadian dollars,
which is rare in the Canadian market.
Yes. Then we have the white premium line in Azan. They have 3 sizes. I think in Canada we have 2 sizes actually. We have the Robusto Extra and the Campana. And the Azan White is a more complex cigar, but it's a beautiful mainstream cigar. It's still my favorite cigar out of all my cigars, and it took me almost 2 years to come out with that blend.
Wow.
But and it's one that I'm really feel proud about because is I call it a mainstream. Is it's a solid medium flavor, sweet, evolve, progresses as you smoke. It's a cigar that has been fermented for a long time and aged. The tobacco has been fermented. The cigars has been aged for a long time. So when you smoke an Azan White here in Canada, it's probably a cigar that has been aged for 2 years.
Wow.
Before reaching the humidor, and it's in the perfect time to be smoked. And then we have the Azan Maduro. Our Azan Maduro is medium to full. It's a beautiful Maduro. It's absolutely natural Maduro wrapper. It's a Corojo cut 7 and 8 of the Corojo plant in Ecuador, the wrapper, and it's a wrapper that we process for 22 months to get to that color.
Wow.
So it's absolutely natural, the color. There's nothing added to it, and it's just a simple fermentation process that we do in the wrapper in a natural way. That's why we call it Maduro Natural, because we want to set ourselves apart from the rest of the Maduro cigars. We did that for 22 months, and I don't see any other brand that have done that.
I know it's a fantastic Maduro. It's probably my favorite in the line for sure. I mean, it's a rich, chocolatey. You know, it's it's probably it's our best seller as far as the Azans go. You know, it's just to be able to sit here and talk with a legend in the business, and you've been doing it forever, and just your heritage has been fantastic to chat with you. Is there somebody that you look up to and say, wow, that's the one person that I say really helped me to get where I am today? Or
well, I have a few. Yeah. And if I have 1 minute to mention one, I would like to mention Crisanto Cardenas, Santo, the cigar roller that shop. You guys when it was in your shop. Santo was the first person that I met when I went to work for Cuba Tobacco. Because when I went to the company, I didn't know anything about cigars. So they said the first thing you have to do is to go to the factory for a training and spend a month there, learn all the process of the factory, and then come back to the marketing job. And so I went to the factory, and the person who was waiting for me there was Santo, who was at that time production manager for Partagas factory. Wow. So I worked with him for a month before I actually had a desk in Cuba Tobacco, and that was the day that we started the friendship that we have up today. And and when I started my company, of course, Santo said, "Well, I'm just waiting for that to happen, and I'm jumping to work with you right away." So he came along, and Santo is now our master blender, and he's our ambassador, and goes around, and we just did a special Salomon that he rolled. We did a 3,000 limited edition cigar that he rolled all of them by himself, and we market that cigar in Asia and in the US, and it was a total success. I mean, we sold all of them right away.
I just saw that in I think it was in Cigar Snob magazine. You had a picture of him and talking about the Salomon.
Yeah.
Will any of those be available in Canada?
I don't think, unfortunately, I think they all went too fast before we had the opportunity to sell it here. But Santo will come. We are talking with him now about perhaps doing a Azan special edition rolled by Santo for next year.
Fantastic. Again, Roberto, thank you very much for your time, and it's been a pleasure to have you on Canadian Cigar Scene.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Wow, what a great interview that was, eh? What a great guy. Really enjoyed that.
I could have listened to that guy speak for hours. Seriously.
On that note, we better clear out of the studio here, because I think George is gonna come in and kick our ass if we don't. Really, again, thanks to our listenership, and thanks to Roberto for giving us the time. Next week's guest, you?
Michael Parks from Parks Pipes.
Woot, woot. He's a beauty.
Another legend in the making.
Absolutely. Again, thanks to everybody last Friday who came out to our 6th anniversary celebration. We celebrated our 6 years in business last Friday, and we threw a shaker in the garage that was just, it was Julian's garage that was just off the charts. Everybody contact us if you need to. Radio at victorycigars.ca. You know the whole thing with Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff, Instagram. We got it all, okay? Just search Victory Cigars. I guess that's it, Jew. I guess it is time to have a cigar.
You have been listening to Canadian Cigar Scene with your hosts, Julian Luke and Kevin Newell, right here on Reality Radio 101.